What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Mine Something. If you're new here, my name is Jake, and in today's video, are you mining a scam coin? And let's talk about 4090s blowing up their 16-pin connectors. We also got some drama going on with Radiant, and how many of the top 100 coins do you think were GPU mineable? And then Toncoin coming up in the news. Looks like they've got some things going on I want to share with you. And then lastly, we're going to take a look at the BTC Hashrate. It is out of control, so let's talk about it. But before we get into it, do me a favor, hit the like and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. So let's dive in. So, meme coins, scam coins. Look at this. We got VirtualEmpire, 5 days old now. We got Proof of Memes, 13 days old. And Ether1, 23 days old. And I don't want to hate on Meowcoin too much. They do have a little bit of utility and not a terrible roadmap, I guess we should say. But let's talk about VirtualEmpire for a second. So if you try and pull up their website, it's a .in, and this is what you get. Yeah, a whole lot of nothing. I can't even do research on this project, guys. I mean, these scam coins are popping up like crazy. They know that nothing is profitable, and if they can get in front of some miners, then it's easy money for them, right? Just stay away from this. And as far as Ether1 is concerned, let's take a look at their website here. So, Tokenomics. Now, this is good. You should have this listed on the first page, but let's read this. Ether1 blockchain is a fresh blockchain starting from block 0. It won't have any data from old blockchains and won't have same difficulty level. It will be much easier to mine. Other proof of work forks of Ethereum blockchains like ETHW and ETH are very difficult to mine and are not profitable for mining. What the hell does that have to do with the tokenomics of Ether1? I mean, give me the tokenomics. If you're going to say tokenomics, then break it down for me. I mean, just the way this is worded, it's like they didn't even have anybody proofread it. This is ridiculous, guys. Where are the projects with utility? That's what I want to see. Don't put your hash rate towards this garbage, please. Don't waste your money. Yeah, let's go back to this one. Site can't be loaded. How about proof of memes? So let's take a look at their white paper here. I'm just going to read you a little bit of this. Internet memes have the power to make us laugh, shock and surprise us, and even spark social movements. A successful internet meme, by definition, is easily read and understood. When you can look at an image and read a couple of lines of text that point out something you know is true, you can quickly recognize how memes are an incredibly powerful form of human communication in the digital age. No arguments there. Memes offer high efficiency of communication and economy of words. In simple terms, a meme is the ultimate way to communicate an idea or concept quickly and succinctly. Meme coins add a financial aspect to the viral spread of memes. Meme coins are the financial incarnation of the concept of a meme. To this point, meme coins are considered the upstart challengers to more serious utility-focused cryptocurrency projects. Even with massive market capitalizations, meme coin developers are developing around the limitations of existing blockchains rather than building on a blockchain which was created for a specific purpose of growing and supporting innovation in the meme coin space and beyond. Proof of Memes is the dedicated ETH forked blockchain ecosystem designed with the mission to be the dedicated proof of work meme coin blockchain to dominate the trading volume of meme coins and beyond. Really? This stuff makes me laugh, man. Like, anybody who, like a developer that has the skill set to build something like this should be focused on building something with utility. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? Yeah, I think Elon Musk said it best when he was defending his love of Dogecoin that, ironically, things that do take off are sometimes ironic, and that spurs their success in a way. And I don't want to hate on all of these projects, but look, guys, this is not where it's at. Right? Could you make money with this? Sure, you could make money selling lemonade on the side of the road too. But I I want to support things with true utility, and I hope that you do too. And I would like for stuff like this to die in a way. I mean, if whoever developed this put their time and effort into something legitimate, just think where we'd be by now. I mean, it's all a get rich scheme, and I don't know. Maybe I'm being super cynical tonight. I'm just kind of in one of those moods, I guess. But I don't know. I, I'm I'm tired of seeing so much effort going into scamming people. If you just put in the freaking work to make something legitimate, you'd be so much better off. Anyways, let's move on from this subject. Let's take a look at the 4090's 16 pin blowing up. So it appears there might be a problem with the 16 pin connector that powers the Nvidia GeForce RTX 4090. According to a Redditor who owns the card, their GPU actually went up in flames and parts of it have melted as a result. Is this a more widespread issue? And should you keep a fire extinguisher nearby at all times if you own a 4090? Anyway, I'm not going to read this whole article, but yeah, some guy posted this on Reddit, and if you happen to catch Jay's 2 cents video about it, he'll explain it much better than I can, but he brought up concerns about this a long time ago, and I think a lot of people did. There was a lot of people that had concerns even before we knew the 4000 series could be pushing up to 600 watts. And if you watch Jay's video, he even talks about Intel, or excuse me, Nvidia and Intel all defending this particular type of connection and saying that there were no issues with it. But of course, they issue stern warnings not to put it at a too harsh of a bend, and you had to have, I think, 35 millimeters before you started to bend the cable. I mean, not everybody is going to be able to do that. Even a card standing straight up. I mean, you got to have cable management. So, yeah, it's just ridiculous that this is happening. There was nothing wrong with the old connectors. They work just fine. And I really don't see the reason to have a single connection for 4 8-pin connections to go into one. It's just ludicrous at this point. And one more thing that Nvidia is probably going to have to defend, as they always do. They keep making these terrible decisions, and it's everybody else's fault but their own. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about a little bit of drama going on in the Radiant Discord. So I troll this Discord quite often, and shout out to Tonsky. I believe he considers himself a whale. I think he's in the top 100 according to what he's saying here in Discord. But he is pointing out that the price is dropping like a manhole from the sky, and he's paying attention to the top wallet addresses, trying to make sure that his bags are safe, as he should be doing. But one thing that he points out here is the top 100 accounts account for almost 50% of all the coins in existence currently, which is pretty scary. I don't know who these top wallets are, but I sure hope that they have the best of intentions. And I've mentioned this project many times on this channel. It seems like they've got some development going. It seems like they do have some utility. Unfortunately, I don't see, I believe he goes by Attila. I don't see him active in the Discords. We see DLSIT1 in here defending the project all the time, and kudos to him. Thank goodness there's somebody in there trying to bring awareness and make sure there's no FUD being distributed. but he's having to do a lot of defending here lately from what I can tell. So just a heads up, guys, pay attention to this project. If you're holding a very large bag, you may want to be active in making sure that you're holding something that is legitimate. And again, I'm not saying that Radiant is not legitimate, but just do your due diligence. That's all I can say. And speaking of Radiant, right now the price has dropped significantly. If you look at where we were at back in, looks like 926. Excuse me, that's the price. I'm not sure what the date is here, but this is going back a few months. As you can see, it's just steady dropping. And, you know, I think with it being a mineable coin, people who can mine this and squeeze out a little bit of profit from it are probably selling. I would like to think that most of us are hodling. Speaking of which, I wanted to show you guys the results of this poll that I ran earlier today. So I asked, what are you doing with your mined coins? And it looks like the majority of us are hodling 100% until the next bull run. 83% out of 63 votes so far. So I'm curious, you know, if you haven't cast your vote on this, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're doing. Are you cashing out a portion to cover electric? Are you exchanging 100% of it for BTC? Are you doing a little bit of everything? I'm interested to know, so let me know in the comments down below. So anyway, going back to Radiant here, you know, I'd like to think that we're getting close to the bottom here, and we may stay at the bottom for years to come. But I'm collecting a bag of this, and I plan on hanging on to it until we get into the next bull run, and hopefully it does not disappoint. But some good news for Radiant is they actually did take the lead in the Exbitron voting, and right now they're sitting at 24,204 votes, and they just edged out Hivecoin, which has been sitting at 23,000 votes now for, I don't know, at least a couple of weeks. So I don't know what's going on with the Hivecoin community, but they are not putting in the work like the Radiant team is. So yeah. Also, going back to Radiant, one other thing that I noticed from being in the Discord, IoTappy, if you're listening, I believe you are running the viper.net pool, and congratulations on jumping up into second place here. And if you will notice, RXD pool lost a significant amount of hash rate. It went from 3.78 down to 640, and at the same time, roughly, vipernet went from 462 gigahash up to about 3.5 terahash. So it looks like everybody that was on RXD pool is switching over to vipernet. And yeah, I believe RXD pool has been having some issues. They've been up and down. It looks like they're back up now. I didn't know if they were going to come back up, but yeah, we got another North American pool with vipernet, and he's pretty active in the Discord. So if you guys want to distribute your hash rate and you don't want to sit on our plant, which currently has almost 63% of the total hash rate, please move that over to viper.net. And then next, I had this thought earlier today, like, and I'll tell you why I was thinking about this when we get to the TON situation, but I was wondering how many of the top 100 coins were GPU mineable at some point. And I wrote down a list, and I probably missed a few, guys, so forgive me, but here's what I got so far. So, of course, we got number 1 being Bitcoin, number 2 being Ethereum, number 3 being Litecoin, and then we got Dogecoin, we got Ethereum Classic, we've got Bitcoin Cash, we got Zcash, and believe it or not, ETHW is actually in the top 100. I think they're like number 60 or so. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, number 64. So ETHW is in the top 100, which was pretty surprising to me. Then we also have ZIL. We have Ravencoin. And then the last one which is not GPU mineable anymore. But I'm curious if you guys held on to your bag of Toncoin. Look at this, up almost 18% on the week. Today it's up 4.5%, and within the last hour it's up over 1%. And I've been seeing this actually been going on for a couple of weeks now. So let's take a look at the chart real quick. Yeah, going back over a week it started pumping, and it's been somewhat stable compared to the rest of the market. Looks like within the last 3 months we got up to about $2 a coin. And if you go back and look at a year, actually let's just take a look at all of it. So yes, the highest it ever was about $4.50, and we're sitting at $1.50 right now. So this has held its value pretty well. It's doing good at the moment, and here's some reasons why. So if you didn't mine any Toncoin and you're not familiar with the project, you have no idea anything about this, it's not surprising because it's not exactly too well known in the US, and I think most of my audience is probably in the US. However, overseas, it's extremely popular. So Toncoin was initially created by Telegram, but they got into some hot water with the SEC, and they decided it was not worth the trouble to go through the battle like XRP has done, and so they just squashed the project. However, it was picked up by the community, and the community had the idea, hey, let's make this a mineable coin for a fair distribution, and then that way we don't have to worry about running into issues with the SEC or having an ICO, all these different things. And it's done really well. In fact, they created smart contracts to distribute all of the Toncoin that was in existence, and that has since expired. You can't mine Toncoin anymore, but I did manage to mine a small bag of it for myself. But let's take a look at this. So this particular article was back in August. Okay, this was August 23rd. Telegram founders suggest NFT-like smart contracts to auction usernames. Imagine how successful Telegram, with its 700 million users, could be if we put reserved usernames, group, and channel links for auction, the Telegram founder wrote. So, Pavel Durov, the founder of encrypted messaging application Telegram, has floated the idea of a marketplace that could utilize NFT-like smart contracts to auction highly sought-after usernames. Durov made the suggestion after the success of domain name auctions by the Open Network TON, a Layer 1 blockchain originally designed by the Telegram team. The blockchain project launched on the TON DNS service, enabling users to assign human-readable names to crypto wallets, smart contracts, and websites in mid-July. In a message to his personal Telegram group named Durov's channel on Tuesday, he noted that he was really impressed by the success of the auction TON recently conducted for their domain wallet names. Anyway, the article goes on to talk about how they want to do this. And again, this was back in August. And now we have this coming from a couple of days ago, messaging app Telegram to auction usernames on TON blockchain. So this is the reason why it's currently pumping, but essentially they're bringing this into fruition. And with a user base of 700 million people, I personally have a Telegram account. I don't use it very often, but this is used very widely overseas, and I think this could be big, guys. I mean, basically the currency of Telegram is going to be TON, and they've got NFTs. In fact, let's take a look. So TON ecosystem. Telegram launches NFT on, I don't know how to pronounce this, Dyson Tar? Anyway, so yeah, TON ecosystem. Not even a week has passed since the news that users of Telegram, this messaging app, can now send and receive Toncoin crypto instantly at zero transaction cost by activating the chat's built-in wallet. And now, the Toncoin ecosystem has also launched a new service, the sale of NFTs based on the Open Networks blockchain directly on Dycentar's new marketplace. So yeah, there's an NFT marketplace there. They're going to auction off usernames, which could be huge. I mean, it. Let's take for example Twitter. If Twitter was auctioning off usernames, and you had to pay for it in Dogecoin, imagine what would happen to Dogecoin. And that is essentially what we're looking at here with Ton. Again, 700 million users, guys. So pretty big deal. I hope you're still hanging on to your bag of Ton. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is the total hash rate on Bitcoin. So looking at this chart, there was something very interesting that I noticed, and that is preceding the dump in 2018, the hash rate fell off first. So if you notice, it peaked out right here weeks before we had the massive dump. And this was like a 50% dump. And of course, the hash rate followed down with it. And to reiterate, on most of the major dips, the hash rate dips with it, right? So let's take a look at the big dips here. So we have the China banning crypto mining crash right here. But if you look at this most recent peak back in November of last year, what has the hash rate done since then? It has gone up substantially. I think it was like 18% in a week here most recently. That's this big spike right here. And I have an opinion on what's going on here. So obviously, as newer equipment, later technology is produced, it's always going to force the old equipment out of existence, right? Or it's going to get passed down into the hands of smaller miners. Yeah, excuse me while I take a drink real quick. So what we're not seeing is a massive dip in hash rate, even though we're seeing a massive dip in price. Now, we could be in a very similar situation where we have an immediate downturn of hash rate here in, let's say, for instance, the next couple of weeks going into November, or maybe towards the end of November, and perhaps that could precede a 50% dip in Bitcoin. But what I really think is going on here, I think the little guys are getting pushed out. I think the competition is getting sweated out, very similar to how the oil companies used to do it. And when you look at the current price of electricity per kilowatt hour across the world, and you look at the difficulty and the price of BTC, this type of jump and this continued increase in hash rate doesn't really line up with the narrative. And I think this is very intentional. You are seeing a lot of large companies struggling, but the smaller guys are struggling even more. I really feel for Voscoin. I don't know if you've watched any of his videos recently, but you can tell he is feeling the pressure right now. And I think that, again, I think that's intentional. I think the big guys are doing everything that they possibly can to make it difficult for these other guys to survive. And it's very likely that several of them are going to collapse. In fact, some of them have already, and they're going to liquidate their equipment, perhaps liquidate their coin and whatever working capital that they might have to try and recoup and save face, because this is going to be a pretty brutal bear market. The macroeconomic situation is dire, to say the least, and I really do see this being as intentional. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I don't like to see the smaller guys getting pushed out of this space, but all of us YouTubers are talking about this. It's apparent, and the writing is on the wall. And I just want to reiterate to you guys that the bold are rewarded. If you want to stay in your comfort zone and you want to play things safe, then I have no quarrels with you whatsoever. I have done it many, many times. There's a time to do it, there's a time not to do it. And what I do want to do is encourage those of you who think that now may be the time to be building up. You should be dollar cost averaging. Now, you have heard that expression in regards to accumulating coin, but have you heard it in regards to acquiring silicone? So, what I mean by that is if you're considering making some purchases of some additional equipment, the first thing that I would caution you to do is invest in your infrastructure first to support this in case energy prices continue to increase, which I believe they will. I've been reading a lot about the price of natural gas here recently, and even though the demand for natural gas in the US is going to kind of taper off, it's expected to only increase by like 2% this winter as compared to year over year. But the situation overseas uh, is going to require that some of our production gets shipped out of the country. And that's going to keep prices pretty much where they're at and possibly higher for a considerable amount of time. And that's assuming that everything stays like it is right now. But the first thing that I would recommend that you do is look into cheap power in some fashion, whether that's doing something like I did, where you do your own solar system, or like the previous video that I just posted about doing wind power or hydropower if you don't have access to good solar. But if you can't find some type of renewable energy source, or you can't do that yourself, then perhaps look at a place where you can. Now, I don't recommend hosting equipment. That's I've seen too many horror stories happen. A good friend of mine right now is in litigation with a company in Canada who basically stole his equipment. Half of it didn't stay online the entire time it was there, and once he started complaining enough about it, they basically just told him, "Look, man, you're a little guy. We're not worried about you. If you want to come get your stuff, you're welcome to come get it." And of course, they're in Canada, so he's not going to drive up there. And then he decided, okay, fine, I'll take my equipment back. And what do you know? They stopped responding, and now that he's hired a lawyer, yeah, they got several lawsuits against him. And guess what? Nobody can find him. So I'm not one to recommend co-locations unless you personally know the person who's doing the co-location. But anyway, you need to investigate ways of getting cheap power and secure that before you purchase any more equipment. And if you do still plan on purchasing more equipment, dollar cost average into it. Don't do everything all in one fell swoop. Just little nibbles, okay? Little nibbles in between now and perhaps the middle of next year. You have plenty of time. It's not a race. Just build slowly. And, you know, like the saying goes, it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. And that applies to acquiring silicone. So, again, take your time and maybe diversify a little bit. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do me a favor on your way out, hit that like, and if you haven't, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.